You, as a leader, have been in a situation where you were in a conversation that was very negative and you just missed the mark in terms of how to make that conversation more positive. In this video, I'm going to share with you why this tends to be a struggle for many leaders and provide you with three strategies that will help you to be able to turn a negative conversation into a more positive outcome or positive discussion. Now, if you like this title of this video, you are absolutely supposed to be here. This channel focuses heavily on advanced communication skills and strategies. My expertise is in those very high stakes, high pressure situations. And on this channel, I'm going to help you learn how to communicate more confidently and concisely when you are under pressure as a leader. Now, if you happen to be in my audience that I provide executive coaching and consultation services to, which are women in leadership, you are welcome to reach out to me for support. I have a special promotion going on right now. This is my 6th year of business, and tomorrow, April the 23rd, is the last day. Yes, the last day I have my special business promotion for my high stakes communication intensive and also for my executive strategy session. If you're a woman in leadership and you know you're at a place where you are in a more highly visible role, you know the way you communicated previously is not the way you need to communicate moving forward as you advance in your career, and you need that surgical like approach to how you communicate, you absolutely want to sign up for the High Stakes Communication Intensive. It is at exciteexcellence.org. If you are a man in leadership or someone thinking about leadership, I guarantee you are going to learn a tremendous amount of information from this channel. Feel free to ask me any questions. I'm here to support you any way that I can on your journey. Let's talk about it. Why do people tend to struggle with this topic specifically? The reason why a lot of times people tend to struggle when they are in those conversations that start off initially a bit negative and they are having a hard time trying to maneuver those conversations to make them more positive is because they are caught off guard. The reason why people are caught off guard because sometimes when something bad happens, our minds, if unless they have been trained to be able to deal with challenging situations, they may have a hard time making that change to do something a bit more positive. I want to say hello and welcome to those of you watching the live today. Let me know what part of Big Beautiful Words you are joining from today. And have you ever had a conversation that was perhaps a bit more negative than what you would like for it to be? And maybe you struggled with trying to get that conversation in a more positive direction? Put it in the comments below. Let's talk about it. Let's make sure we are growing together. My mission here is to build the largest, yes, I said the largest, high stakes, high pressure communication content library on planet Earth on this channel right here. So the more engagement we have, the more questions you have, it is going to help so many other people that are watching this channel to learn and grow also, regardless of where they are in the world. They will learn how to communicate more confidently and concisely under pressure. Let me know where you all are joining from today and what questions you have about this topic. As I mentioned, for those of you just joined, I shared with you briefly about why people tend to struggle with having these negative conversations and trying to turn them into something more positive. The reason why is that many people are caught off guard when these situations or these conversations take place. And unless you have been through a lot of very under pressure like conversations or high stakes discussions, you may struggle with how you can make a conversation more positive simply because you have not been exposed to it or you are struggling with it. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, well, I haven't had a lot of those conversations, and this is something I haven't dealt with that often. How can I best prepare for this? One of the ways you can best prepare is by subscribing to my channel, of course, to get some insight in terms of how you can start building that foundation to help you be able to communicate in those very challenging situations. But then too, you're also welcome to reach out to me for direct support. There's only but so much I can do for you here on YouTube in front of the entire world. There always comes a point in time where you have to invest in yourself. If you're really trying to make a major change, it's important to invest in yourself to get that customized one-on-one support, to know exactly what are you doing specifically that may be giving you some problems as it relates to handling these situations. So I shared with you why people struggle. They're caught off guard, they're not sure how to process it, or they may just simply have not been exposed to those situations often enough to know how to respond and make a negative conversation turn into a bit more positive direction. Now let's talk about what are some strategies. I'm going to share with you 3 strategies today. What are some strategies that you can use and you can start implementing today that can help you to turn a negative conversation into a more positive outcome or a more positive discussion? If you have any insight that you want to share outside of the 3 I am going to list here in just a moment, put it in the comments below so we can all grow and learn together. This is just my 3 I'm just mentioning. There's a lot more that go into turning into a negative conversation into a more positive conversation. But these are just 3 strategies just to get you started. The first strategy to turn a negative conversation into a bit more positive outcome or positive discussion is to observe. Now, many times on this channel, I talk about observing. And if you are new to the world of high stakes communication, or you want to be more confident and concise when you are communicating under pressure, take a look at a couple of videos on my live tab. Any video that talks about your tone of voice, reading people, being able to manage your emotions under pressure, eye contact, body language, and silence. Those videos will give you a very solid foundation to start being able to master these skills. Now, as it relates to observing, that goes into the lines of reading people. And a lot of times you can actually determine when a conversation that is negative is starting to go in a negative direction if you just simply observe the person. Now, before I go into this in detail, let me see what's going on in the chat. And thank you for the heart emojis, friends. We have Ellie Belly 4001. Hello, Ellie Belly. Khalil G5B. Hello, welcome. And Ellie Belly 4001 says slay. Okay, welcome. Appreciate the heart emojis, friends. All right, so let me know where you all are joining from in the big, beautiful world today. And have you ever been in a negative conversation and you wish you could have made it more positive, but it didn't end up that way? Let's talk about it. Let's go through some strategies today in just a few moments. Now, one of the things I do want to also mention as well, and I'll say hello to user in just a moment, and Ellie Belly, thank you for the hearts. Now, as I mentioned, being observant, a lot of times if you take a moment and observe the person, you will be able to see exactly what is going on in this conversation, in the moments or the flags, I say, that will appear to let you know that this conversation is going into a more negative direction. This is something that a lot of people fail to do. And oftentimes when leaders are in this situation, thank you for the celebration caps and the hearts. I appreciate those. A lot of times when leaders are in this situation, they are caught off guard because they did not pay attention to those cues that were letting them know this conversation is about to go in a negative direction. Now you may be wondering, well, what are some of those cues? Like, what are they? I'll share with you just a couple. There's so many, I don't have time to list all of them today, but I'll share with you just a couple just to get started. One of the cues that you may want to pay attention to when you are observing someone and you're trying to determine, is this conversation going in a negative or positive? Observe their body language. Many people, if they are not subscribed to this channel, or maybe they have not been in those very, very high stakes, high pressure situations, are not trained to read other people. That's why people are caught off guard. But if you're subscribed to my channel, you're not going to be caught off guard because you're going to pay attention to what I'm going to mention to you. Many people are not trained to observe. They're just simply not. You may look at someone. Looking at someone and observing someone are 2 completely different approaches to communication. Most people just look. Very few of us actually observe. And if you pay attention to someone's body language, maybe you pay attention to how they are speaking. Perhaps you pay attention to their facial expressions. A lot of times, this will let you know if someone is not happy with what you're saying or they are frustrated about a situation. Now, before I go into more detail on this, let me see what's going on in the chat. So we have user, let's see, user has a couple letters around the name. Something about presidents and John Lachlan. Ellie Billy says, I gotta go to my brother's hockey game, but I'll probably see you later. Bye, good luck. Well, thank you, Ellie Billy. I appreciate you. And you're always welcome to watch the replay as well. And hope you subscribe to the channel if you want to be able to communicate at a higher level than your peers. We talked about observing. Observing and looking are not the same. They are completely not the same. You can look, but you need to be trained to observe, which is why you subscribe to this channel. Now, the second way that you can turn a negative conversation into a more positive discussion or more positive outcome is to listen. We talked about observing. Remember, observing and looking are not the same. Please don't make that mistake. Observe. Carefully observe. Pay attention to what someone's doing. Pay attention to what they are saying and what they're not saying. That tells you what's going on in their mind. Listening is very important. You want to be able to listen to the person in terms of what they are saying. And specifically, when you're trying to make a negative conversation or pick up that it's going in a negative direction, listen to their tone of voice. Now, I've been in situations where I've had people curse me out for the most random nonsense things I can ever think of. And this has happened as in different roles I've been in. This has happened to me as a doctor. I mean, it's just people, you deal with all kinds of people sometimes. And I will say that listening to someone's tone of voice tells you a lot about a situation in terms of what you need to be preparing for. Now, if their tone of voice, let's say they're upset, you can tell there's something that they're not happy about. If their tone of voice is not too loud, but perhaps maybe it's the same tone of voice they use all the time, or if it's someone you do not know, they do not appear to be yelling, but they appear to be very frustrated, you know this is a cue for you to say, I need to come up with a way to turn this conversation around very quickly so that it becomes a more positive discussion in where we're going right now. That's a cue. Now, if you notice that this person's voice starts to elevate just a little bit, be careful. You have to be careful in those situations because when you notice the slight bit of elevation, this situation can escalate and escalate very quickly. And sometimes when those situations happen and they escalate, it may happen a lot faster than the way you were able to actually respond. And depending on the circumstances, this could mean you are in danger, you are in a threatened position, you may be in a place where your life is at risk. There's so many reasons, there's so many situations that come up in high stakes communication that can actually cause that to be a problem for you. Now, I want to know from those of you watching, have you ever been in a negative conversation and found a way to turn it into a positive discussion? Or maybe you've been in a negative conversation and you stayed there. You were not able to turn it around. Let's talk about it so we can all learn together. We can put some strategies together for the audience today. As I mentioned, observing is one, and then making sure that you're listening is the next step that you want to do in this case, so that you are at a place where you are actually listening to what someone's saying and listen to their tone of voice. Their tone of voice is going to tell you a tremendous amount of information as it relates to, is this conversation going to stay in the negative or in the positive? Now, I'm going to share with you my very final strategy that will help you to be able to turn this conversation into a more positive discussion. But before I go into that, if you have found any of this information to be helpful, perhaps you are one of my amazing subscribers, and I'm so glad that you're watching this video, friend. I appreciate you being here. Or perhaps you're someone that's new to my channel. If you like this information, then you are more than welcome to take a look at some of the videos on my live tab, get a sense of what this channel is about, and how it can benefit you. And if you find that there is some information here that is helping you to communicate at a higher level than your peers, and you have taken something that has allowed you to gain a promotion, as many of my audience have, came back and reported to me, they've been able to do promotions or help some of their team, then you're welcome to subscribe. And if you are a woman in leadership and you're at the point where you truly want to go to that next level, and you know the way you're communicating now is not the way that's going to help you be able to go and make that huge impact on the world or in your businesses, contact me directly on any social media platform, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, but I'm a bit more active on Instagram and LinkedIn, and of course here on YouTube. This is my home. So I'm here to support you any way that I can. All right, we have Rahul Sharma. I hope I said your name correctly, friend. Hi, excellence. Hope you're doing well today, friend. Welcome to the channel. For those of you watching, let me know what part of the big, beautiful world you all are joining from today. Number one. Number two, have you ever been in a negative conversation? If so, were you able to turn it around to make it a more positive discussion, or did it stay negative? What happened? Let's talk about it in the comments below. Now, we're going into the third strategy. For those of you just watching or just joining, we are talking about how you can turn a negative conversation into a positive discussion. I mentioned at the very beginning of the live, this is something that people struggle with. And I talked a little bit as to why, so you definitely want to watch the replay to take a look at that. The two strategies I mentioned to you so far are the following. The first strategy is going to be observe. Observing and looking at someone are not the same. They're not the same. And true masters of communication observe all the time, which is why hopefully you subscribe to the channel so that you can start to develop these skills. So you want to observe the person. Watch out for those very subtle cues, nonverbal gestures that will come up specifically that will show you this conversation is about to go negative. The second strategy I mentioned to you is to listen. Listen to their tone of voice in terms of how they are speaking, how they're communicating. Their tone of voice matters. It will tell you if this person is just frustrated, or it will tell you if this person is going to escalate this conversation. And also their word choice is important too. If someone's cursing you out, automatically that's escalation. There's no need for that. So keep that in mind. Now, my third strategy is to think of something positive. Now, before I go into the strategy of thinking of something positive, let me see what's going on in the chat. Rahul Sharma says, yes, you spelled it correctly. Rahul Sharma, thank you. I appreciate that. Rahul's from India and asks, have you ever been to India? No, I have not been to India. Hopefully one day in my life, I will be able to go visit. I have a lot of colleagues that are from India. I have a lot of my audience from India. I have people I work with from India. I just really want to visit the country some point in time. But I appreciate you being here and supporting the channel. So we talked about positive interactions and positive thoughts. When you pick up that this conversation is negative, and we're going into that, we're going down. The conversation is going down, friends, is going down. You have to be the person to gain control. You have to gain control of the conversation. And the way you do that is to start thinking about something that's a bit more positive. For example, if you are in a conversation with someone, and I'll give you something that any of us would talk about at this point in time with this day and age. If you're having a negative conversation with someone and it's more challenging, you could talk about anything that's positive, anything you see that's positive. Maybe something worked out really well. Maybe you saw gas prices go down. We would all be really happy and positive about that right about now. But you can think of anything that is positive regarding the situation specifically. I'm adding a bit of humor here. But if you think of something positive, maybe you have a client that's upset about a project. They don't like the way things are going. You could easily say specifically, these are some of the things that will help you on this project. These are some of the successes that we have been able to accomplish with this project. These are some of the milestones that we've reached. This is the money we have saved you so far. You want to have those data, those statistics on the ready. Therefore, when a conversation it's going down, it's going negative, you can easily pick it back up and bring it back up by talking about something that's positive. If you keep your mind in a positive state, and you all, for those of you who watch my channel for a while, you know that's something that's big for me. I try to be as optimistic and as positive as I can, which I am 99% of the time. We all have a moment where things are rough. But if you try your best to think of the positive things, what good can come out of this negative conversation, it will help you to change it. And as I mentioned earlier, the reason why people struggle so much as leaders in those very high stakes, high pressure situations is because they are not trained on how to go about having that discussion and turning a negative conversation into something a bit more positive. So I hope this gives you some insight to consider on your journey. All right, let's go back to the chat. Raul Sharma says, do you think these many things people will follow here? Yes, so I will tell you, Raul, I know you're new to the channel, so welcome. I have many of my audience members that are here. They're not here on this live specifically at the moment, but there's definitely a group of individuals who have actually had the information that we've discussed during the lives and have implemented it into their day-to-day interactions. They've received promotions, they've received salary increases, they have been able to improve the performance of their teams. And a lot of my audience here that may be here present watching are individuals that may not interact as much, but a lot of my audience actually watches the replays of the videos. So yes, people do actually listen to my expertise here. I'm sharing with you over 20 years worth of experience as it relates to high stakes, high pressure communication. I've been on the news, I've been a C-suite executive, I've been a director, I've managed many people, I've dealt with millions and millions of dollars of projects. I've interacted with congressional leaders over the past 20 years, and I've been a public speaker for over 20 years, and I have a lot to share. And so, Raul, one of the things I'm trying to do here, outside of servicing and providing executive coaching and consultation services to the women in leadership that I specialize in, but I'm really here to build the biggest, the largest, high stakes, high pressured content library in the planet for leaders here. And that's my mission, whether you're a woman in leadership, a man in leadership, or someone thinking about leadership and you're just not sure yet. I want this to be your place where you go when you know you have a hard conversation coming up and you don't know what to do. Most channels here on YouTube, and I'm going to say hello to everybody in just a moment. Most channels here on YouTube, if they're talking about high stakes communication, they are very highly edited, and it may be something that is very highly polished. So this is something that I do. Okay, so we have Nusina. Hello. And so this person, Miktar, I don't even know how to say your name, and for you to call me a B word and I don't even know you, you don't absolutely need to be on my channel, because this channel is actually for people who are trying to improve themselves and improve the lives of others. If you come to my channel, this is my channel, my home, where I'm trying to provide a tremendous value to my audience, and come and call me a B, and you don't even know me, then you don't need to be here. There's plenty of other channels for this person to go troll. That's why they're hidden from the channel. And for those of you who are just new to me or have not seen me, the way I communicate and how I conduct myself is the exact same way in front of you. When I'm not in front of you, I don't tolerate nonsense. So this is not the channel for people to come and troll. I will shut it down very quickly. And these are skills that I've learned as a high stakes communicator. You have to be able to address the issue quickly and be able to communicate in a way that is still professional, but ultimately you have to completely just shut stuff like that down when someone wants to come and say something very rude to you. All right, Nusimia I7I says, I'm Turkish. Well, welcome. Glad you're here today. So I shared with you 3 strategies to help you to be able to make a negative conversation go into a positive direction. If you take a moment and think about these strategies, they will absolutely help you specifically on your journey when these situations happen. Now, I want to know from those of you watching today, Let me know if you've ever been in a negative conversation and maybe you were able to turn around and make it positive. Maybe it didn't work out that well. Maybe it stayed in a negative place and you weren't able to recover from it. Let us know. Let's talk about it in the comments below. I'm here to support you any way that I can on my journey. If you are new to me, I mentioned a few videos in the live that you probably want to take a look at if you're trying to enhance how you are communicating in those very high stakes, high pressure situations. And take a look at a couple of those videos. Thinking on your feet is a big one that you may want to watch. Managing your emotions under pressure, time management, body language, and etc. I go live here on YouTube relatively consistently. I go live typically 7 times a week. They're usually in the morning. I'm based out of the United States, so in the morning time here on the Eastern Standard Time Zone, and in the evening as well. I typically do that Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Wednesday evenings I go live. So if you have something that you're dealing with and you're struggling with as a leader, and maybe you're not quite sure of how to say it, when to say it, where to say it, you have a really complex situation, you're always welcome to put something in the comments below. I'm here to support you any way that I can on your journey to help you so that you don't have to struggle so much as you're moving forward. If you have any questions, let me know, and I appreciate you all so much for being here, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.